Hey guys, this is Ray from Phone Arena and you're watching our BlackBerry Q10 video review. So, BlackBerry certainly took its time to develop BB10 and produce the first smartphones running with the new platform, but all the hard work has finally been done and now we can take a look at one of the first BlackBerries running the new platform, which is the Q10, a handset that has the difficult task of keeping BlackBerry's loyal customers loyal. The Q10 is 100% BlackBerry as it has the traditional BB form factor with a portrait-style physical QWERTY keyboard sitting on the front right below the display. It's strange, but we think that this very feature may easily be the Q10's biggest pride and downfall at the same time. On one hand, there is an existing niche market that will welcome the BlackBerry Q10 and its keyboard, but on the other, its small screen makes it very inappropriate for anyone who's willing to have a decent web and multimedia experience with their smartphone. Unsurprisingly, the BlackBerry Q10 is a looker, it is compact and sweet, and while its predominantly plastic body isn't particularly ambitious, it still feels good in the hand as it sticks to materials that are pleasant to the touch. Even though the BlackBerry Q10's 3.1-inch screen is quite small considering today's standards, it's still touch sensitive, so you shouldn't necessarily feel like a dinosaur if you use it in public. It's actually a relatively high-quality screen with a 1:1 aspect ratio and a resolution of 720 by 720 pixels, making for a pretty decent pixel density of 330 ppi. The 1:1 aspect ratio, however, means that video will appear extremely small on this display, so that use case is almost out of the question. BlackBerry has used a Super AMOLED panel here, so contrast and viewing angles are quite good, though colors quickly get cold as you look at it from an angle. When we said that the small screen might be the Q10's biggest downfall, we may have made a mistake. The BlackBerry 10 software platform might be just as big of a reason for anyone who doesn't like this phone. Sure, BB10 OS is snappy, visually polished and fluid, but it's hard for us to see why one should prefer it next to iOS or Android or even Windows Phone. The thing is that BB10 not only lacks any groundbreaking features to make it stand out, but it even throws in some unintuitive stuff like a bunch of navigation gestures to make things somewhat more complicated than they should be. Of course, we don't say that you can't get used to these small issues. With a bit of practice, you can even learn to avoid them, but the question is, should you? The BlackBerry Hub is at the heart of the messaging experience in BlackBerry Q10. It's basically an always-on application that's found in the leftmost end of the interface. The BlackBerry Hub integrates all of your communication activities, including text messages, email, calls, and notifications. It's a cool concept that you can always return to the BlackBerry Hub by doing the swipe up and then right gesture, though this is a bit difficult to master. So how's that QWERTY keyboard, you ask? Well, it's as good as on any high-quality BlackBerry smartphone, meaning that it's quite cluttered but still much more comfortable than a larger on-screen one. The keys have the trademark BlackBerry form and they do have a nice clicking feel to them when pressed. You still have to use your fingernails in order to type because the keys aren't big enough to let you comfortably press them with a finger. All in all, the keyboard is very good and will be enjoyed by those who plan to really do a lot of typing on their phone. The email client of the Q10 is good, though we've certainly seen better. It will surely get the job done, but we feel that the small screen isn't going to make working with the BlackBerry Q10 very comfortable, even when it comes to managing your email. BlackBerry has developed a very capable browser for the BlackBerry 10, so you can theoretically surf the web in a decent way. We say theoretically because it's possible, but it's practically a pain due to the small screen and the 1:1 aspect ratio. It's a pity because everything moves swiftly and the browser itself is very capable. Almost surprisingly, the BlackBerry Q10 sports a pretty decent 1.5 GHz dual-core processor and 2 GB of RAM. Built-in storage is 16 GB, which is fine, especially for the Q10. But if you ever happen to need more, you can always insert a micro SD card for up to 64 GB more. The BlackBerry Q10 is equipped with an 8-megapixel camera, but that doesn't mean that you'll be able to take great photos with it. The camera UI only has the basic necessities like a bunch of shooting and scene modes. The photos that the BlackBerry Q10 takes are lacking fine detail despite the fact that the camera has 8 megapixels. On top of that, photos are somewhat hazy and noisy, definitely not the kind of look that you want for your images. At least colors tend to be on the realistic side. All in all, it's a good camera for quick Facebook sharing, but don't expect any state-of-the-art achievements here. The BlackBerry Q10 can record 1080p video, which is perfectly smooth and pleasant to watch. It isn't as sharp as we would want it to be, but we can live with that. It's obvious that the BlackBerry Q10 is probably the worst smartphone you can find for multimedia consumption. With a small 3.1-inch screen and an aspect ratio of 1:1, video playback and gaming are extremely inconvenient. You can do it, but it will be painful. Thankfully, the BlackBerry Q10 is an above-average performer in the call quality field, with its earpiece being quite strong and reasonably clear. The microphone is also good, so your callers should hear you well as long as they also use a decent handset. The loudspeaker of the Q10 is also pretty good. It has strong output and manages to produce tones with decent depth, so it doesn't sound strained. The BlackBerry Q10 is every inch a BlackBerry. It has the traditional BB form factor and, more importantly, the physical QWERTY keyboard that's coveted by so many BlackBerry fans. This, however, is a device that's exclusively targeted at existing BlackBerry users. We don't think that the Q10 is capable of attracting any new ones. As a niche smartphone, the BlackBerry Q10 is a pretty decent performer. It can do anything a die-hard BlackBerry user would want it to do and more. The QWERTY keyboard is very good, while the BlackBerry Hub, with its excellent email and BBM integration, will surely delight those heavy texters. As a regular smartphone though, the Q10 falls short in almost every area when compared to a decent Android smartphone, an iPhone or even a Windows phone, mostly due to the small screen with 1:1 aspect ratio, which makes activities such as web browsing and multimedia consumption way more unpleasant and difficult than they should be. Thanks for watching our video review of the BlackBerry Q10. If you'd like to learn more about it, feel free to visit us at phonearena.com. Thanks for watching.